We are back with part 2 of the VP to IMOW lawnmower build series. Don't have a catchy name for it yet. Probably won't have one at all. I don't know, it's just a little funny to me because this is going from the twin cylinder modified to like the single cylinder governed fixed gear ratio, kind of like the slower division, but underneath really the mowers are all pretty much the same. So let me talk about what I'm getting into this video. First off, if you guys didn't see part 1, you gotta check that out, you know, see where we're picking up from. But what I want to do is work on the steering column support. So I gotta cut all this other stuff out. I hate using the grinder, but I gotta do it. This was like an extra post for a spring, clutch spring. All these raised up mounts here for, you know, these were for the old front end. You know, this front end was so tall, I needed to raise the motor up, so I'm gonna cut those off. Get underneath, I'm going to cut out all the old belt guides because I'm going to do a different system, you'll see that. And then I got to cut out some angle iron in there that was supporting the old front end for the new one. So first step is get the grinder out. Alright, well, bad news. Viewers are out of luck here. I don't have a tripod. I don't know where it is. Or a cameraman, so you're going to be spared of the B-roll of me cutting and grinding with royalty-free music dubbed over it. So, fortunately, you're not going to see that. But I'll check in with you guys when I get everything cut out. We are back after maybe an hour or two of cutting, grinding, hammering, getting frustrated. We're ready to start trying to fit some stuff up. First thing we're looking at is going to be the front axle. The old front end was mounted in here with some 2-inch angle iron. But these new setups I have, I've welded the brackets onto the axle. I'm not sure if that's the right way to do it or not, but that's what we got now. So the issue is, I've already kind of mocked it up once. The issue is that this channel currently isn't deep enough. So I'm gonna have to just cut, what I'm gonna do is drill a couple holes, cut it down. You know, you don't want to cut sharp corners because that's where the cracks will form. So first off, I'm gonna have to go ahead and cut this channel a little bit deeper to accommodate the axle. Also, the old ones are 2x2. This is 2-inch by 1.5 inches. So a little thinner, but we'll get into it. So this is what I was talking about with drilling the holes. I just lay it out. This doesn't need to be that critical, but these are 5/16 holes here, and then that'll give you the radius for your cuts. So now I'm going to come in with an angle grinder or, you know, sawzall, whatever type of thing, and cut the rest of it out. But that way you don't have a sharp corner, because that's where your cracks are going to want to form. So anyway, it's going to do that on both sides. Mock up where I'm going to drill my holes, or just mark up where I'm going to drill my holes for this. So next shot you'll probably be seeing the front end just bolted in. Alright, so with the front axle in location, the only other thing I really have to do to get some clearance is open up a little bit of the frame up here. This is the front pivot mount. I do the front steer pivot mount on my front end. Some guys do the rear. But pretty much all I'm going to do is just use this multi-purpose wood block, clamp it onto the frame using some C-clamps, hole saw with no pilot bit, and just go right in there. Use tons of WD. And yeah, then I'll be able to tap in my stuff, and then I'll be starting to pretty much put the front end together, put the spindles on, put the center steer in, pivot in, tie rods and whatnot. So we'll be rolling. So a little bit of a change of plans, just behind the scenes, not really for what you guys are seeing. But first off, I did cut that out. Hole saw, you know, it all works good. As you can see, I got my pivot in here, my center pivot, and I actually didn't have any of them, so I went ahead and just made a couple of them. Now this is 1/4 inch. I think I went over this in the front end video a while ago. But anyways, this is 1/4 inch by 1 inch thick, and this is chromoly. It's not just like a regular, you know, mild steel or anything like that. It's pretty good stuff. So speaking of chromoly, like a 4140 alloy, that's what I use on the shafting too. All the shafting. This is just regular mild steel. I think these are 4140. Check this out from the last race. This is my, like, all my broken parts up here. This thing sheared right off. The old spindle sheared right off. I think I may have also gone over what I've done to fix this, but this is the old one. As you can see, the weld is fine. It did not break at the weld. This is 4140 shaft that snapped. Let me show you the new spindles. I went 4150, which is a slightly stronger alloy, I suppose. And I also put this sleeve on here. Instead of gusseting, I could try to get a gusset, but as you can see, there's not a lot of material to gusset to, so I sleeved them like that, and I'm hoping that's going to be a lot stronger. Haven't had any issues yet. I've actually broke one of these prior, a left front. This one was, the mower was pretty much flipped over. I don't know how the driver, you guys saw him in the last video, he cartwheeled out of it and pretty much saved it, but when the thing landed, I think this broke. Pretty sure this broke after. No big deal to fix it, but I have had that happen once before. So anyways, what I wanted to show you guys is the Heim joints. I may have gone over all this before, but I'll go over it again. These all have the nylon inserts. I use the Nylox. These are going to be the Heim joints that are going to hold your spindles in place. So what I do is I just go ahead and thread them on first. Set the nylon, pretty much like borderline thread the nylon. Because if you just try to, you know, what you've got to do is you've got to put the Nylox side in first for the one on the outside of this plate. So I go ahead and I thread them on, I let them sit for a little while, and then I take them off, reverse them, and put them on the other way. I've tried to just, if you try to force them on nylon first without setting them at all, it'll like pretty much cross thread once it gets to the steel threads. Then, you know, the threads don't mesh up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I think I also have to make tie rods. I thought I had all this stuff, but anyways, it'll be good to have spares because pretty much everything's going to be standardized now. Okay, fast forward a couple days. Got all the tie rods made up. Everything's nice on this front end. You know, it's nice and free. What I don't have is a steering shaft set up. I did make a couple extra tie rods. These are 1/2-inch steel, also 4140 chromoly. Let me show you what I did for the Heim joint so I can get full articulation. So what I have here is just some aluminum tubing, 6061. It is, I got it from McMaster-Carr. It's like 1/2-inch inside diameter, 5/8 OD roughly, something like that. Anyways, just cutting it with a basic tubing cutter. And so let me show you what I'm doing with it. I am using it to space the Heim joints. Space them off like that so you get the full rotation. Otherwise they bind up, you know, before their time if you don't have them spaced properly. So anyways, on to the steering shaft. That's going to be the next one. I got the raw material there. So I'm just gonna pretty much put that right through that hole, support it with some strut work. I'll go ahead and put on the old tin so I can locate the dash. As per the rules, the steering shaft needs to come through the stock location on the stock angle. So that's what I'm gonna do next. Yeah, this is pretty straightforward stuff, but I figured I'd show it. So that's a piece of tubing in there. Kind of made my mark, pretty much made it flush with the top of the dash. And there it is in the hole. Didn't do anything, still got to take it out and cut it. It just happens to like rest in that way perfectly. It's the same tube I had before that I cut out. You know, and I'm just going to pretty much set it where I want it. Tack it in place after it's cut. And then make up my strut supports. Weld them down in the corners here. So, you know, I'll take this off and clean that down to bare metal. Weld that all up. Then, what I can do is figure out my arm from the front pivot steer to the steering shaft, steering column, whatever you want to call it. So I'm not sure if it's going to be the same as the other mowers. It's going to be interesting because those are the newer walkthrough style frames, and as you can see, this is the old box one. So it'll be interesting to see. If not, I'll just have to make extras for both different measurements. No big deal. And I got my steering column support system all set up. It's going to be nice and centered in the dash. Don't know if I mentioned it, but I got right hand Heim joints on one side and then left hand Heim joints, left hand threaded Heim joints on the other, you know, of course to set my toe in, toe out. And I'm going to do the same on the rod. Just took my measurement of the rod for the steering shaft to up here. So I'm going to go ahead and make that thing, throw it in, and pretty much that's probably going to do it for this video. It's going to be running long. After this, next up, I'm going to have to, I don't even have a motor for it yet. Well, I know which one I'm going to use, but I don't have it in my garage yet. Yeah, then I got to set up the gearing. That's going to be a whole process in itself. So stay tuned for the next video. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to go over other than the gearing, you know, belt supports and stuff like that. We'll see what pops up. That's kind of all I'm doing in this video, is whatever pops up for this video series. Whatever I think pops up that might be, you know, good information, I'll throw in. So catch you guys next time.